Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm starting my, this is my first story time with the Big Storyteller. I feel as this story is essential. I'm going to give y'all a little bit of background because I do an annual dunk each year around this time, July. And the goal is till I'm 60. So I have 2 more to go. That particular goal was given to me by a fellow in my longtime gym in Philadelphia. I gave up. I decided I was retiring from dunking somewhere in my early 40s, and at the time I felt like I was taking the burden off myself, like most people do, Americans do, especially African American. And that takes me back a little bit because I've spoken around that time to a lot of my colleagues, guys around my age, who would say stuff like they're hanging up their high tops. And I wanted to know what that meant. That means you're going to stop working out, stop playing ball, sit at the bar all day. What does that mean? Let yourself go to poop? That's why you see guts and everything, and they gain 40, 50 pounds after they retire. But what does that mean? And I get it. I know that in some kind of way, we feel like it's a young man, a young person, or a young. It's a game, and it's for young people, kids or whatever. But it keeps you in shape, and I was able to encourage a lot of the brothers my age to continue. Make sure you're doing something. And it got to be basketball, but you're doing something to take care of yourself. Don't retire to a bar stool. Keep it going. I always digress. I tried to rehearse this a few times prior to cutting this on. I just said I'm just going to wing it because I always go off on tangents. But I'm going to try to stay the course, stay on the subject. But I just wanted to bring that up, because we do look at it as a bit of America does present it to us and try to keep us as thinking youthfully like that. I don't want to say boys because y'all know how I feel about the boy thing, but that's why you see a lot of athletes, and even when they retire, black athletes, they get into the commentary and all kind of stuff. They try to stay close to it. They don't know what else to do. They've never worked. And that's what hurts us a little bit, or a lot, really, because it makes our young boys dream of being some kind of entertaining entity, athlete, rapper, whatever, etc. I want all the money and I don't want to work. And they feed our culture with that. America feeds us dreams, and let me tell you something. That's all they do. This is the biggest dream crusher in the world. And that's a fact. And the quicker you learn that, the better off you'll be. And try to be realistic. Real quick story. My son's buddy, I would always have him and his buddy with me. And as they got older, about to graduate, my son's dream was still to go to, college or whatever and play ball. And his buddy was just as good. And his buddy said, no, I want to start my life. I'm going to get a job. And I don't know which one I was prouder of. Today, after knowing that this place is such a dream crusher and what it entails to be an entertainer in America, I'm prouder of his buddy. Just be simple. Just take care of your family, yourself, etc. Get a 9 to 5 and do your thing. Again, I always digress. Anyway, a friend of mine challenged me some 14 years ago. I'm almost 59. Some 14 years ago. That he told me, he said, and he's a 7-footer. Frank, y'all know, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. He said, I played overseas. And he said, I met a guy who could dunk at 60. And he said, because I told him I had retired from dunking at 45. He said, if he could do it, Horn, I know you could do it. They used to call me Hops. He used to call me Nowitzki. Nowitzki was a very good shooter. Tremendous shooter, more than very great. Nowitzki was a 7-foot great shooter, anywhere on the court. So that was a compliment that he called me that. In fact, he used to hate sticking me because he could not use his height to block shots in the paint because he can't leave me on the outside. I'm digressing, I know. But, and I'm trying to go somewhere with this. I got to think of where I'm going. But he told me, he said the guy over wherever he was playing overseas was able to dunk at 60. And he said, if anybody can do it, you can too. And that didn't resonate with me. But the Lord uses people. Just like the devil uses these people to, come at me every day, all day. The Lord also uses people. And the Lord got him to plant that seed. That was 14 years ago. And so, after coming off of a voodoo-induced stroke, some 10 years later, a stroke inflicted by my ex-satanic family, satanic ex-family. I knew it wasn't no way in the world I'd be dunking again. But as time went on, eventually things had gotten so bad that I thought, I was ready to cash my ticket in. I moved into my vehicle and everything for over a year, and was just waiting. But within that time, I only had me and the Lord. That was the only communication. Delving into His Word for hours at a time per day. And so a year later, with all the craziness that drove me out of here, I came right back here. Totally different person. The craziness is worse. But I came back a different person. And it was a journey. physically, mentally. But the spiritualism was there. And so when I started seeing myself, getting it together, bit by bit, I started dreaming. Because I can remember days after this voodoo and inflicted stroke by my ex-satanic family, when there were days when I tried to walk on the court and try to feel normal and just throw the ball up to the hoop, and my head would almost take me and fall backwards. It would spin so bad. If I jumped, it would pound on my head so bad. It was crazy. And I mean just jump 1 or 2 inches off the ground. The pain was just excruciating. I was the one who created, this is my new normal. Ever since I said that, it's on every commercial now. I can get into that too. There was one, I gave one of my goose names that I used to feed in the morning. Named him Solo, and you can go Google it. Everything's called Solo right now. I would walk into the shop, or supermarket, or wherever I would go during the day, and they would, with this COVID crap, everybody should be solo. You wear your mask, you should be solo. I mean, the solo thing had went crazy. But it's everything I say and think. They jump right on it. So my new normal thing was there. I was like, this is my new normal. Then I see myself growing away from that, getting stronger. And so I said, Lord, I'll make a deal with you. Not a deal, but I said, Lord, I'm getting stronger. I'm not asking much. Just let me, I wanted to see what it felt like again. I said, Lord, just let me see. Let me just dunk a tennis ball. Let me just dunk a tennis ball. Give me that. I'm not asking much. Give me that goal. Just let me dunk a tennis ball. It's quiet as a mouse in here. That's how it gets when I talk. Woo! And then they try to rattle a door. I'm telling you how this, and I don't know if that's spiritual or a demon or what, but communication is crazy. I really should have saw it last night. I don't want to digress. I said, I just want to dunk a tennis ball. And it's almost like I could hear him. That's all I wanted. He said, I am God. I am God. A tennis ball. You better dream higher than that. So, I said a dodgeball, what a softball. You better dream higher than that. Long story short, he got me to dunk a basketball. You gonna ask me for something? Ask me for something for real. But again, I thought what my new normal was is what it was. He said, I'm God. So for the past 4 months, 4 years, rather. Well, this is the 4th year. But until I'm 60, that's the goal. That's the goal. I had a plan I was going to tell you all about how, just the history of how I was a high flyer in high school. I was a high flyer when I went to Widener University. And when I realized that I was too good to be sitting on a bench there, and that it was political, I wanted to tell y'all the story of how that last practice, when the Lord told me, "You're too good for this, man." This was my sophomore year. My freshman year, I started. My freshman year, I was the only freshman that made the varsity team, and I starred on the junior varsity team prior to the varsity. So I suited up for both teams, and they did that because I would fill the stands for the junior varsity game. It was like taking candy from a baby for me. I'm not saying they were scrubs, but I just studied the game and I knew the game, and I'd look at it, and after a while I knew their plays, and I'd steal the ball, and I was off to the races. Dunk after dunk after dunk, and the crowd loved it, especially the freshmen. They always, all my freshman class, everybody was there, and they'd even stick around for the varsity game to see if I got in to do the same thing. But it was political. It was a mostly white school, and they had one upper class black player starting. So the excuse was, everybody, you just played the whole game, and I don't want to wear you out. I took that excuse the first year. The second year, I'm strictly varsity, but I should not be on no bench. I kill these guys every day. So when the Lord spoke to me, He said, "You're done. This is it. You're done after the day." I said to myself, "You want me to finish the day? I don't care how you do it. If you want to put your last show on, go ahead and do it. If you want to leave right now, go ahead and do it. But the ball's in your court, but today is your last day." And I love basketball. I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I? But I heard His voice. And so I put a show on. Probably a little more than usual, because I knew this was the last day. And I got a steal. And I said to myself, what a way to go out. And so about at the foul, and I threw the ball off of the backboard. Quartered and windmilled it, and bam! And you could hear a pin drop. And let me back up a little bit, because right at the steal, and I think he kind of sensed where I was, where my mind was by this time. And he blew the whistle to end the play. But I didn't hear no whistle. My mind was made up. When I threw that thing down, I just walked and hit the locker doors, and I was out of there. And that's when I transferred to LaSalle, and I had to wait out a whole year. And by the way, I got a story about this that I want to share with you guys. That's another story time. But I don't want to draw this out. It's already almost 20 minutes. But I had to sit out a whole year. No basketball. Called LaSalle. I said, spoke to the coach. And I said, I'm thinking about transferring. I just need to know if you're going to give me a fair shake. He said, yeah, you could try out. If you're good enough, you'll make the team. I said, all right, I just needed to know if your roster's full or whatever. Um, if you're good enough, I said, I'm not worried about that part. I just need to know if you got a spot. I know I'm not even worried about that part. And so I came up one day during the summer. They were out, the ball players were there and the coaches were there. And I told them what day I'd come up and he could take a look, and they met me at the front door of the gym. I told them, tell him Horn is here. I'll, tell him Horn is here. He's expecting me, and he called up, and I came up. And let me tell you, when I met with the coach, he was a pretty big guy himself. So we're standing pretty much eye to eye. So he wasn't all that. He's not going to be impressed. The position that I'm, small forward or whatever, even power forward back then, he definitely wasn't impressed with 6'5" or whatever. He was all his forwards was 6'7" and over. So he wasn't, his guards were pretty much my height. So he wasn't worried. He wasn't real impressed. But when we got the game started, yes, they were impressed. Yes, I tore the gym up. Yes, I dunked all over everybody. Don't care, I'll tell you. At one point, I got a pass that was way too early. I wasn't even at the foul. Well, I was close to the foul, but I know I took off from the foul line, and I was one of the better finger rollers back then. I mean, me and George Gervin, I give George Gervin a run for his money. I could flick the ball from anywhere. And that's what I was thinking. But as I'm in the air, and it's crazy too, every time I think about it, and I could hear the wind going past my ears. And I'm ready to flick it, and the voice is saying to me, "You still way up here, man." And I get closer, and if anybody understands how many thoughts you can have within a split second, it's crazy. And I'm ready to flick it, and you still way up here, man. You still way up here, man. And I look, and I extend my arm a little bit more, and I said, I am still up here. So I rammed it, and I'm telling you, I wanted it first from the foul line. And so I threw it down, and it's a regular play, a regular day at the park. I mean, I'm running back down, and the whole gym stopped. They're all stopping, and they're running, and they're ready to charge me. And I'm like, what's going on? What are y'all? Let's go with the game. I'm ready to keep going with the game. But they're celebrating the play, and I didn't understand why. Not only was it from the foul line, but they told me, they was like, do you know who you dunked on? And I was like, no. I didn't even know I dunked him. I just knew I was flying, and bang. I didn't know nobody was up there with me, but he obviously was up there with me. And I said, no, I don't. And he said, that was Eric. You dunked on it. I didn't know who he was, so it wasn't no big deal to me, but it was a big deal to them. By the way, I'm editing this video, and I just had to make this point because I forgot. You know how I go off on my tangents. But as the year, quickly into the year, I found out who Eric was. I'm suspecting, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason why. They wanted to see what kind of dunks that I could do. Uh, this was like maybe in the third or fourth practice that year. So they said they wanted us, but they were going to, like they were doing us a favor. We're going to let y'all have a dunk line today, only for like 5 minutes though. So any dunks y'all could do, do in the layup line. And I suspected they wanted to see what was in my arsenal. And I didn't let them down. Or I didn't disappoint. But I was impressed. I finally got to see who was this Eric. And I knew him, after, like I said, I've been playing with him all summer and everything. And even, when the school year started, prior to the practices, I was still playing with him and stuff. But I didn't know his hops until that layup line, that dunk line. And let me tell you, maybe Vince Carter, Zach LaVine, Eric Gordon, all those light-skinned boys. Because he was a light-skinned, slinky boy, too. They remind me of him. But the dunks he did that day, I said, okay, now I know. Now I know why they stopped the game that day. This guy, I'm still impressed with his dunks. It was just unbelievable. They were used to it, I guess. Like I said, they probably wanted to see what I could do. But I was impressed with this guy. Really impressed. So I got to see who this Eric was. I just had to interrupt and say that. I'm out. But that was my validation. Immediate validation. They told me, they came over. I'm just sitting by myself waiting for the next game to start. We won that one, obviously. We won the first two, rather. And they had to leave, but they all run over there. Listen, you sure you're going to be coming here? I said, yeah. All right, we're going to leave your name at the front desk. And so that was squared away for the summertime. Then when the fall started, I worked out every day with them. We played ball after classes every day. And then one day, one Monday, it was the tryouts was about to start. And I knew it was going to be, in my mind, it was going to be Tuesday. The girls' tryout start Monday, and then ours was going to be Tuesday. And I hang out with my buddies that Sunday night. I was like, this is the last time we can hang out because I'm going to be focused with my, with the team. And I tell you, I had such a hangover and a headache that Monday. And I'm coming from class. And all I know is I'm not even going to work out today. I'll just see y'all tomorrow and try it. I'm going straight home after this. My head is killing me. And quiet as a mouse, yo. And so I bump into one of the girls from the team, and she said, how about you ready for the day? I was like, what you talking about? She said, tryouts today. I said, no, y'all start today. We start tomorrow. I said, no, both teams. We on one side, y'all on the other. I said, are you serious? She said, yeah. I said, no, I think you're wrong. She said, no, I'm serious. So I went up to the office when I got a break from classes and asked the coaches. I said, one of the girls was telling me that we start today. I told her we start tomorrow. They start today. They said, no, both of you, we both start today. I was like, oh my goodness. Do I got my stuff with me? So I did have some rinky-dink pieces of stuff that I did have in my bag. So I said, wow, all right. So I'm thinking, what can I steal a nap somewhere? Or can I do? Anyway, long story short, um, well, first I asked them, before I left, I said, y'all got gear? Because I did have that rinky dink stuff. I said, do y'all have gear that I can, y'all have gears for the ball players, right? Can I use? It was like you had to make the team. And we won't know that for like 2 weeks. So bring your stuff for about 2 weeks. And if you make the team, we'll put you on the list, and they do your laundry, you get your sneakers, they do all this old stuff. So I said, all right. I left. And I'm like, dang, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I've got a hangover out of this world. And let me think. So anyway, I went to practice. And I heard rumors. One of the other ball players from Overbrook went to LaSalle, and he would come back and tell us if y'all think y'all practices are, because Overbrook used to have some hell of a practices, hell of a hard practice, and he said, if y'all think this is something, wait till you get to LaSalle's practices such and such. So, he was just telling us his story. Well, none of us was going to LaSalle. I went to Widener. But wound up there anyway, LaSalle. But he was right about the hard practice. And I had this hangover, so I'm like, oh my goodness. But I don't know where this, that's why, people say you don't know what you're made of until you test it. And that's true. That is certainly true. Because I had no idea that I was going to be the best player that day. Maybe the next day, but not that day. I said, just get through the day, and tomorrow you'll show them your stuff. Well, I was the leading rebounder, leading steals, leading points, leading dunker. I don't know where none of this came from. I must have sweated stuff. I must have got the adrenaline going or something. But I led in all categories. And they raved about me at the end of the practice. And I remember, I'm trying to think when they told me. Yeah, they just raved. Well, after practice, the assistant coaches told me, meet them tomorrow at the cafeteria. What time do I go to the line? I said, I live off of campus. I don't. They said, well, meet us at the cafeteria. And let me back up. So after that first day of tryouts, I got off at 56th and Market instead of 52nd and Market. I used to get off at 52nd and Market and bust it up with Bad Albie Green, my uncle Albie. And because I wondered why I didn't that day. Because I was still so focused on how did I get through how did I have that kind of performance, the way I was feeling. And we lived on 53rd and 54th and Race. And so I got off at 56th in Market, walked over to Race, and as soon as I turned the corner on Race, I fell to my knees and just started bawling. Because I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand it. I felt horrible that day. I don't know how I was the best player. So, by leaps and bounds, I was the best player. So the next day, I met him at the lunchroom, cafeteria, the coaches. And it's crazy. It was like being recruited Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I'm chilling with the coaches and the cafeteria. Oh, the rest of the ball players, they're ball players. The team, I couldn't play that year. I had the red shirt. Their team was sitting over there at their own team, and I'm chilling with the coaches. And they took me around to all the class after we ate. They took me around to every one of my classes. Hey, this is one of ours. Took me to financial aid. That's our business. Then they took me to the locker room, the one where they said in 2 weeks, we'll know in 2 weeks. They said, your name is right here. Starting today. Just a little bit of history of my hops, my jumping ability, and I guess I talked about my play a little bit too. But that's all. I just wanted to share with that. This is story time with Big Horn, the big storyteller, the first story time. I hope I covered everything because this has been way longer than I thought. But I got it off my chest. 2020, 2021, 2022, and let's see if the dump went down for 2023. If so, I got 2 more, 2024 and 2025. Jesus is Lord. God is able, so we should all know what the outcome is. Anyway, I'm out. Praises to Yahweh. You feel me? Water. 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 One more again. This is water. This is why they call me water. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. It's done. Look there, boy. Look there. Give me 1 more inch, man. 1 more inch, man. 1 more inch, we go swim. 1 more inch. 1 more inch. 1 more inch. 1 more inch. There you go. There you go. There you go. Praises be to Yahweh. Praises be to Yahweh. Praises be to Yahweh. Praises be to Yahweh. Woo! You know, one of these sick cultists sent a message to my social media saying that I should thank the Lord that I'm still walking around. Well, you know, I tried to think of a rebuttal for that. No fear. But then I realized they're right. I'm too busy thanking them that I'm still flying around.